and we're here at the International Energy Forum at the headquarters in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. And joining me now is the Minister of Oil from Bahrain, Shaikh Mohamed Al Khalifa. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure, Etna. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Now, this energy dialogue, the IEA, the OPEC, the comparisons really of the oil outlook and really examining what's going on there. How important is it that the IEF facilitate this once a year?
Well, very important. I think it's good to have convergence in views. You get closer to the facts, makes it easier for both producing and consuming countries when they make policy decisions. Once you have the facts, you can project the future more accurately. You can understand what the market dynamics would be. And it's good to see the EIA and the IEF and OPEC come here together with other organizations you see around the table to talk about what their forecasts are. So over the years I can see the convergence of their outlooks, which tells you that the facts are becoming more available. People can see what the true data is and give you more scientific projections than speculation, really.
And indeed, I guess when you do look back, maybe 10 years before that, a dialogue this was not even possible. They were, as you say, not probably even talking to each other. But we're seeing that convergence, and also I think input from international organizations, representatives from the US here, from really around the world looking at this. And again, it's an opportunity for everybody to put in, their 2 cents, I guess, into the dialogue as well.
Well, technology has really helped the dissemination of information, and I think in the past, it was very challenging to get accurate information. It takes you a long time. Now it's at the push of the button. And you can see that these organizations have made it even more accessible. They put it in more readable form. And you can see the IEF had a report comparing both views. Despite slight differences, you still see the convergence. So they seem to know what the future holds for us.
And indeed, yes, any little bit of certainty I think is very good in this market at the moment. When we look at the work that's going on then with OPEC and with the non-OPEC as well, and of course you've always been a tremendous supporter too, how important is it that that dialogue has broadened and actually that the action taken place is much more collective action than it was before?
Yeah, I think time will tell how important this was. Now, you can still argue that not enough has been done because the main goal was to bring back that exit of investment that happened post the crash in end of 14. Now a little bit of that came back thanks to the efforts by the cooperation agreement that came between OPEC and non-OPEC. People still argue that not the right level of investment has been achieved yet. Shale, of course, has come up very quickly, but you still are faced with more challenges in developing conventional oil. And the world is really well established, and the foundation of the oil market is on conventional oil. So what OPEC and the non-OPEC efforts allude to is to try and get as much of the investment needed into the oil sector as possible. It's a long development cycle. So we're not going to see the negative effects until the next few years coming, unless we see a ramp up of investments in conventional at least.
And when we look at the year ahead, there are some, I guess the economic climate is always something you will look at, and you look at economic demand and you look at global oil demand. Some talk of maybe softening in the economy, but OPEC and non-OPEC has been through this before here. There's still quite a growing demand, for the years to come. It might not be growing as fast as it used to be, but I think when you look ahead, that demand, that it must be optimism still in the market.
Well, economics is demographics. You have a growing world population. Of course, developed nations don't have as high growth in populations, but developing nations with very large populations have very high aspirations. They want to go into the miracle of the consumer economy of developed nations. And for that, you will need a lot of energy. Still, the most scalable, the most affordable energy source are hydrocarbons. There hasn't been an alternative yet. It is good to see renewables come through, but to really meet the demand forecasts for that population increase and the increase in demand as developing nations aspire, you need to ramp up hydrocarbon production, and oil is going to be the most important one. Gas, of course, is also a major contributor there.
And just finally, how are things looking in Bahrain? You have a lot of work going on there, a lot of development too in the country, and just bring us up to date with what's been happening in projects recently.
Well, we've been delivering projects on time. We had the pipeline of Saudi Arabia commissioned last year. We We had a gas processing plant complete, a company called Banagas, and it's a year into the signing of the EPC for the Babco expansion. Its timing has been very good for us. I think the refinery will be up and running at the end of the next 4 years. We're also working on downstream petrochemicals, and this year is going to be a lot of focus on upstream. We are expanding our resource base in gas. There have been work done in developing more of the tighter resources. We're looking at bigger reserves now for gas. We're doing offshore exploration in Bahrain, and we're doing a lot on the tight oil, and we're doing a lot in enhanced oil recovery for the Bahrain field, which still has a considerable amount of oil left. So thank you for asking. Always good to see you, Atna, and thanks to the IEF for their invite. Always a pleasure. Shukran.
Great to see you again.